Welcome to Casual Mania, where we kick back and bring the heat.
Spaceballs the flamethrower! That kids love this one.
And I'm going to be going over Chito, Vera versus Cory Sandhagen, the fight that went down earlier today, where Cory Sandhagen was able to get a split decision victory in the worst MMA scorecard I've ever seen. Like, I'm saying it right now, 100% the worst MMA scorecard I've ever seen in my entire life. Usually I kind of go over the full fight card here, but I mean, this fight is really all I want to even attack today, so that's what I'm going to do. And like, obviously, so excited for this matchup. Thought it would be an absolute bang on the feet, and it fully delivered in every way possible. And it was actually so much more dominating for Cory Sandhagen than even I thought. Like, Cory Sandhagen's my boy, and going into this, I thought he would be able to get this done because based on Chito Vera's last couple of fights, you know, he's such an explosive fighter, and we've seen that in his wins over Cruz and Font, but he really does take a lot of time to get going. Like, that Dominic Cruz knockout was in the 4th round, but up until then, you know, Cruz was able to outpawn him for the few rounds before that. And then, yeah, his fight against Font, he was getting outstruck, but was able to, you know, the power was just a great equalizer there. So going against someone like Sandhagen, who is just so unpredictable, puts pressure on, diverse striking, mixed in the grappling here effectively, pretty much completely shut down Chito for every single round. First round, Cory came out and absolutely dominated the grappling, like the top game. It was so dominant on Chito, landing 47 strikes to 12, 32 of which was significant. And I thought this round was a 10-8. I thought it was so dominant for Cory Sandhagen. Yeah, obviously having all that top pressure and combining that with the ground strikes. He was up like 60 ground strikes to like 3 or something, I swear, at one point. It was so dominant. And then round 2, basically the exact same thing again, taking him down and outstriking him 55-9. So that was even more dominant than round 1. So you could probably argue that maybe round 1, maybe a 10-9. I probably thought it was a 10-8. Round 2, for sure, a 10-8. But of course, no judges bothered to give it a 10-8, but they ended up doing a bunch of other shit, which was fucked. And then round 3, 4, and 5 was contested mostly on the feet. Cory still trying to mix in the grappling, but Chito showed a lot more takedown defense, a lot better takedown defense, I should say. And these last few rounds were a lot closer. Like, Chito was able to land more on the feet, but he was still just getting outpointed by Sandhagen throughout the 3 rounds. People thought round 3 was the closest round out of all of them, and I didn't really see what they were saying. I thought if any round was the closest, it was probably round 4. And when you look at the strikes, like round 3, Sandhagen outstruck him 32-20, round 4, 24-13, round 5, 29-19. So round 5 was actually closer. I mean, I'd say the closest rounds were definitely the last 2, but then Cory was still able to get a takedown in that last round as well. So, yeah, like, just such a clear victory for Sandhagen. Such an impressive performance because Chito was ranked 3. He was knocking guys out cold, building up quite the highlight reel for himself and quite a decent streak. And Sandhagen shut it down in every single aspect. Like, Chito was able to land a few good shots here and there, but the volume of Sandhagen, like, it was just better tonight in every aspect. And so let's get to the scorecards. Let's get to those fucking scorecards. When it was taking a while for them to announce the scorecards, I knew there was going to be some bullshit up because it seems to be happening quite often lately. And it ended up being 48-47 Chito for the first scorecard read. Who was that fucking judge? I saw his name earlier. I'm going to get up my boys Verdict MMA here because they posted about it. It was absolute insanity. Like, minimum, this was 50-45, and that is minimum. When I scored it live, I had it 50-43. I had those first 2 rounds of 10-8, and then Cory winning the last 3 rounds. And, yeah, just what the fuck was that scorecard? I can't remember the guy's name. It got posted. They were saying it on the live broadcast. They made sure to point him out. And from what I believe, I saw a comment that said that this is his 4th fight that he's ever judged, and like 2 out of 4 were on this card tonight, and he's judging a main event. Like, what the fuck is that? The worst scorecard I've ever seen. Like, at worst, I think 50-45. I think there's no way you can even give Chito a round here. And then, yeah, 50-45 was the second scorecard. And then Chris Lee, my God, when I heard that name reading the third scorecard out, I was fucking terrified that they were going to rob Sandhagen. This would have been the biggest robbery probably in the history of the UFC. And even Chris Lee gave it a 49-46. Like, I think that's even some leeway there, giving Chito one of those rounds. But, you know, at least he gave Sandhagen the win. Like, I don't even know how you could... I don't know what that guy was smoking. And there's just a few more things I want to touch on as well. First of all, Michael Bisping on commentary was so biased for Chito Vera this entire fight. Like, it was almost non-stop Sandhagen, and the entire time he's just talking about Chito, like, everything he's doing, like, making it seem like it's a way closer fight than it was when it was literally Sandhagen on top of him, ground and pounding him, and landing all these shots on the feet, and it would be, like, Sandhagen making Chito miss air all the time, like so easily getting out of the way and blocking the majority of the shots, and it was Bisping just talking Chito up constantly throughout the entire fight. I believe, well, yeah, they both had the same coach, so maybe they've trained together before, I'm not too sure of that, but I couldn't, like, listening to it made me want to kill myself, honestly, and I just don't, people talking shit about Bisping quite a lot, like we saw Gaethje talking about it as well, how shit Bisping's commentary was. Like, for the most part, I do like Bisping on commentary, but, like, there's just certain fighters where it is really bad, the biasness. And tonight, yeah, he was just gassing up Chito the entire time. Like, even if he wasn't gassing up Chito, he was just talking about Chito for the entire fight when Sandhagen was fucking doing bits on him. And then, like, he'd just be talking about Chito for ages after Sandhagen had been, like, just landing a whole bunch of shit on him. And then it would be like, oh, yeah, but, you know, Sandhagen's been doing good shit. Like, and he'd occasionally give Sandhagen props, but it was just so one-sided, I thought, and yeah, just wasn't really a fan of that. And then when it came to the reffing, the reffing as well, Dan Mugliata, Chito was landing so many kicks to Sandhagen while he was a grounded opponent, like, over and over. Well, like, Sandhagen was just kneeling down in front of him, and he kept, like, kicking him in the head over and over and over. And Sandhagen was looking at Mugliata like, you're going to do something about this? And Mugliata literally, like, wasn't even aware of what was happening, it seemed. Like, it was just the UFC seemed to be fully boosting Chito tonight. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then speaking of Mugliata, giving Macy Barber the robbery win as well. Like, it was just again, the UFC just going for their little fuck toys. Obviously, Mugliata must just be getting Dana sliding the paycheck under his door before he goes out to... Like, I don't even know why he wasn't even judging that, to be honest. You'd probably think an MMA official would be better at judging, but fucking hell, it was awful. I don't know what that was. And I guess I'll just touch on the co-main event as well. Holly Holm getting a unanimous decision, basically just dominated her with the ground and pound for 3 rounds, so whatever, yeah. Yeah, I mean, all I really cared about, to be honest, on this was the main event, and it fully delivered. It was a banger, and as a Sandhagen fan, I loved seeing him shut Chito out. And yeah, really enjoyed the fight, but those scorecards made me fear for my life. Something has to be done about this shit. I don't know why there's so many. It seems it's just to be getting worse and worse, and that is definitely the worst scorecard I've ever seen, I think. I'm trying to think of something that's worse, but I don't know if I can think about it. Yeah, it was just so clearly Sandhagen in every aspect. I don't know. Anyway, Sandhagen, a banger of a performance, called up Marab. Oh, I just don't really want to see that because I feel like Marab's going to beat him. I just don't. I like Sandhagen too much to see that happen. That will depress me. I've had to watch it with Aldo and then Jan. God, it's just hard to watch any fighter go against Marab because I always want them to win and they end up losing in just shit fashion and snooze fest fashion. So, yeah, just please don't give me that. I'd rather Sandhagen go up against O'Malley. I don't know what the rankings even like now. Maybe Marab's moved to number 1. I can't quite remember. I think he might have. But, you know, O'Malley was number 1 at one point. Sketchy win over Jan. But, you know, having with Sandhagen will be such a banger. Make that fight, please, UFC. It'll be so good. So, yeah, that's what I want to see going forward. And as for now, yeah, that's been Casual Mania. Shit scorecards is probably the main topic to cover. And everyone's been talking about it. Fire that judge. But apart from that, base Sandhagen into the Sandman.